What's going on, guys? And welcome to Randy Talks Mets, guys. This is where you get your latest talk, anything you know about the Mets news, anything you need to know. Guys, we got to get into the second half thoughts with the New York Mets. Right now, they are a half a game out of the division. They are playing well. They have a good team, but we got to talk about what's going on with the Mets. We see the New York Mets right now. Let's get their record here. The New York Mets record. Let's see here. I think it's let me see. Believe. Let me see here. Let's get the Mets record here. Yeah, the Mets record is 55-42 on the season. And to me, honestly, the New York Mets are in a really good spot. They are in a really good spot to me. And I feel like the New York Mets are a good team. They have good pitching. Obviously, with Sean Manaea and Kodai Senga coming back, this is huge for the New York Mets. But man, I feel that this team is a good team, but there's definitely something missing with this team. As you've seen, they're one of the worst teams with runners in scoring position. I believe they're ranked 21 in baseball right now. And just in general, I don't feel confident with the New York Mets with runners in scoring position. I feel like it's been a big issue for the New York Mets, and they have to get it together. And the second half, though, they got to do something. They got to make a trade. They got to do something. They got to fix their relief pitching. They definitely need that. But, man, we're going to get into that. But overall, first half thoughts, though, they are a good team. They have good pitching. And hats off to David Stearns for putting the Mets in this position. And nobody thought that Griffin Canning and guys like Frankie Montas, these guys, McGill, none of these guys, they didn't think that these guys were going to really do that good for this team. And Griffin Canning in the first half of the season was really good for the New York Mets onto the injury. He was regressing a little bit, but overall, with the New York Mets, they have pitching. Do they need a starting pitcher? Maybe they do need one starting pitcher. Maybe they need a relief pitcher. I believe, honestly, they need a relief pitcher for the New York Mets because they got to get that guy to get that bridge to Edwin Diaz. But overall, I like the Mets. I like what the Mets give you. I like what the Mets bring to the table. And they are a good team. You got teams like the New York Mets, like the Phillies, like the Braves. To me, the Braves, I'm happy that they are in the position that they are right now. They are not in first place. They are not in second place. So it's right now a two-team race in the division. And my expectations for the New York Mets is to win the division. I don't want to really get the wild card. Like, if we get the wild card, it is what it is. But I want the Mets to win the division. That is what I want for the New York Mets. I feel, honestly, they have a good team. But, man, the pitching. We got to talk about the pitching, though. Sean Manaea, Kodai Senga. They need these guys. They need these guys to be elite. We've seen in the beginning of the season, Sean Manaea got hurt. And Senga was pitching. He was pitching up to a 1.47 ERA, but he got hurt. And now they're both back. That is huge for the New York Mets. Huge. And to me, I feel that this is a good spot that they are in. Now, guys like, there's definitely many, many teams that want Sean Manaea and Kodai Senga and wish they had those guys on the team. But, man, we have them. And I really feel that Sean Manaea is going to be the second half horse for this team. I think he's going to be a really good starter for this team. And I think he is what you saw with the delivery. If you didn't see the Kansas City appearance, this guy was pitching his ass off, man, in Kansas City. That fastball, he's still doing the over-the-top delivery that is a little unorthodox. But I really feel that this is a guy that, to me, I really like. What's going on, the baseball purists? Yo, Randy, I've been a fan of your channel since 2023. Please don't laugh at my trade idea, Sevy and Langoliers for Ronnie Mauricio. Listen, I'm not going to laugh at it. But what I will say is I personally do not want to trade Ronnie Mauricio. I feel like Ronnie Mauricio is a special player. And this guy is a guy that I would hold on to. I think that his upside is definitely better than Brett Beatty, than maybe Mark Vientos and these guys and Acuna. Out of all these prospects, I think Ronnie has the potential to be better. That is what I feel, but I'm not going to laugh at your idea. I think Severino would be a really nice pickup for this team. You've seen Severino. What's his ERA now? I believe his ERA is probably not that good, Luis Severino. But what I will say about Luis Severino is you saw him last year with the New York Mets and how comfortable he was, how he felt. And man, it was really nice to have Severino on this team last year. Now, this year, we picked up Frankie Montas and not Luis Severino, and we got back Sean Manaea. But to me, I feel like if Severino would have stayed with the New York Mets, they definitely, well, I'm not going to say definitely, but I feel like he would have been successful with the New York Mets for sure. But what I will say is Langoliers is intriguing. I get it. He's a good catcher. He's a good power catcher. But I don't think that the Mets are going to trade Ronnie Mauricio for that package. But I'm not going to laugh at your idea. But overall, let me see here. Mets fan, what is going on? Who do you think that the Mets will get? That is a beautiful question. And to me, I feel like you got a guy like you could maybe get a guy like Cedric Mullins. You could get a guy like maybe Felix Batista if he's available. At the end of the day, it's about who's available. And what I'm hearing from the sources, from the baseball sources, I'm hearing that Jarren Duran, Aroldis Chapman, these guys are not available. Byron Buxton said he's not available himself. So what I feel personally with the New York Mets is that they need to get a relief pitcher. That's what I feel. They need relief pitching. That is what I honestly feel. So if you could get a guy like Felix Batista, if he's on the shelf, if he's available, I would try to get him. And I would give up I will give up a couple of prospects for him. Am I giving up a top prospect for Felix Batista? I don't know about that. You got to think about controllable years and all that. That really is important. But I would not want to trade a top prospect for Felix Batista. But I get it. The Baltimore Orioles, that's their closer and that's their guy. So I don't know if they would put him available, but I would love to have a Felix Batista as the bridge for Edwin Diaz. Just imagine that. A guy that could throw 99, 100 miles per hour and be the bridge to Edwin Diaz, because I feel that this team right now is missing a setup man. That is what I feel. And personally, yeah, man. That's what I feel, man. Let me see here. My man, missed you, bro. When do you think that the Mets make the first move, man? I'm happy to be back, bro. And I'm happy to be streaming again. I need to stream more. I understand that. So I'm going to be trying my best to stream every single week, maybe 2 to 3 days a week, 4 days, 2 days, whatever. I'm going to try to stream for you guys, and we're going to talk some Mets baseball always. But man, what I will say is, when will be the first move? When I feel that David Stearns, like, you don't know what he's really going to do, because you saw last year he got Paul Blackburn. And I know nobody was impressed with Paul Blackburn. I was not impressed with Paul Blackburn. I did not think that was a big move for the New York Mets at all. And then they got Ryan Stanek, they got Phil Maton, and Phil Maton was an under the radar move that nobody really kind of saw that was going to be successful for the New York Mets. But it was successful for the New York Mets. Obviously, in the postseason, Phil Maton didn't come through. Stanek did come through a little bit. But man, I feel that the Mets have a lot of prospects that they could give up. Do I want to give up a Ronnie Mauricio? No. Do I want to give up a Carson Bench? No. Do I want to give up a Nolan McLean? No. Jonah Tong, Brandon Sproat. Listen, the Mets are going to have to give some prospects to get a guy. And I feel that if you get a guy like Felix Batista and you give up maybe a prospect, let's say you give up you might have to give up a top prospect for Felix Batista, which is not what you want, but man, it's tough. It really is tough, because I don't want to say to give up a Jesus Baez or those type of guys because I like those guys. Like, but you got to really think about being like a GM, a baseball GM. What is the right move to make? It's a hard move to hard even to take. But I would say maybe like 3 days before the trade deadline or 4 days, 5 days, maybe they would make a trade. I think we are going to see a trade. I don't know what type of caliber of the trade we're going to get. But like I said here, look, I want the setup man. I think that the Mets really need a setup man. And we're going to get to baseball purists here, his comment. And that is, should the Mets just sign David Robertson and save their prospects? Now, I like David Robertson. I like when he pitched with the Mets. Obviously, you saw in 2022, he got injured. Edwin Diaz got injured in the World Baseball Classic. And David Robertson had to be the Mets closer. And he was pitching really good for the New York Mets. But then he went to the Texas Rangers and he was okay. He wasn't amazing. Obviously, I think we traded him to the Marlins, and then he wasn't as good in the Marlins, but then he signed with the Texas Rangers and he was okay with the Texas Rangers. Right now, I'm surprised that he hasn't even signed with a team yet. I don't know how David Robertson hasn't signed with a team yet. I get he's an older pitcher, and I get that is concerning, but to me, I feel like that's a guy that I want in my bullpen. I would like a David Robertson in the bullpen, but to your point here, save the prospects. Yeah, I would love to save these prospects because I don't think that they are trading guys like Jet Williams, like Carson Bench, McLean, Jonah Tongue. I don't think that they're trading those guys. Now, I don't know exactly who's untouchable, but I will say those guys that I mentioned, I feel they are untouchable. Let me see here. Are you going to the David Wright Mets Hall of Fame ceremony on Saturday? Now, the thing is, I made a mistake and I didn't take off from work that day. So I'm going to be working the game. I'm going to be working, unfortunately, but I do work at SNY. So, we're going to I'm sure we'll do a lot for the David Wright ceremony. So work is work, man. You need money. It is what it is. But what I will say is I value David Wright so much, and I feel like that he's always been my favorite player. To this day, he's my favorite player. To me, David Wright has always been my favorite player, and he will always be my favorite player. But man, David Wright is a guy that deserves his props. He's a guy that is amazing. He's a guy that put the organization before him. He's a guy that was the captain of this team. He put this team first. He did everything that he can for this team. Yes, he didn't win a championship, but man, I would have loved to win it in 2015. I would have loved for the Mets to win it, but I feel that David Wright is a special guy, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him that he is getting his number retired and he can have this celebration with the Mets because this is a guy that deserves it. He deserves it, honestly. That's my favorite player, and I hope to meet him one day. And man, he's amazing. He's amazing. So I'm glad that he is having the ceremony. I'm very, very happy for him. But yeah, man, I'm going to be working at SNY. So I'm going to be working the pregame, and I'm sure we'll do some things for that. But hopefully I do meet him in my lifetime. I feel like I will, honestly, but not on Saturday. But yeah. Let's get into what I want to get into here next. Let's see here. What do you guys think about Alvarez, Francisco Alvarez? How are you guys feeling about Francisco Alvarez? Because to me, I feel like I want this guy back in the lineup. I want this guy back on the roster. And I don't know if you guys know, but the fact that Alvarez has been in AAA, the Mets have picked up a year of control over Francisco Alvarez just by sending him to the minors and keeping him there for a little. So I feel that honestly, by Friday, by tomorrow, they should bring Alvarez back, man, and put him back in the fold because you're not getting much from Hayden Senger. And right now you're not getting much from Luis Torrens. And I know that that Alvarez has been not that good. But to me, I feel like Francisco Alvarez is a guy that he's gone back to his regular old batting stance and he's looking a lot better. He's hitting the ball straight away. He's hitting the ball with power. And that is something that the Mets want from Francisco Alvarez. That is what I expected from him. But at the end of the day, I really do like Francisco Alvarez, man. Let's get to your comment here. Alvi could stay in Syracuse forever. Beatty and Jared Young and Ron Mauricio hits well in AAA. Alvi defense is bad. Yeah, his defense is not that good. I get it. But the thing about his defense is he's a guy that, he's an energy guy. He's a guy that can really, what's it called? Just give off the energy, be there for those guys, like have that relationship with Edwin Diaz, to check in with those guys. Like there's stuff that's not on the stat sheet that Francisco Alvarez does. And to me, I think this guy is only 23 years old. We forget how old Francisco Alvarez is, but he's 23 years old, guy. He's a very young guy. And I think Francisco Alvarez should be called back up. And because you're not getting much from Hayden Senger. So why not? Why not bring him back up? Maybe he feels at home. Maybe he feels better at the plate. And maybe he could provide some pop for this team, because we in the beginning of the year, we expected guys like Mark Vientos, like Francisco Alvarez to be those guys, to have that power. And yeah, man, it is what it is, though. Like what? He was so bad. He was bad. He was bad, man. And you're right about that. He was bad, and they sent him down because he was bad. But they sent him down because he wasn't hitting for power. He was striking out a lot, and he just didn't look good at the plate. His swing decisions was really bad. And in the offseason, he tried to work on some swings. He tried to work on some things, and it didn't work out. It didn't work out. So to me, I feel that Francisco Alvarez has been a lot better. I don't know if you guys know, but he has a 1,196 OPS in July. And I feel that the power is still there with the kid. I think the Mets can benefit from having a guy that can hit 10, 11, 20 home runs in the season, like Francisco Alvarez. That's what I feel. Let me hear. But what are we thinking about Mark Vientos, guys? I want to talk about Mark Vientos. I think Mark Vientos is a guy that he's another guy. Like I expected him to be better. I expected him to be a big part of this lineup, and he's batting what right now? Let's see what he's batting. Mark Vientos is batting .223. He has 6 home runs, 24 RBIs, and his OPS right now is 641. So to me, I feel that Mark Vientos is a guy that you've seen struggle, and they send them down because of the injury. But overall, I feel like Mark Vientos, you've seen him before the All-Star break. He was hitting for power. He was hitting the ball straight away. He was looking a lot better at the plate. And it sucks that right now that, man, like, let me see here. Randy, you're my favorite on Spaces. Shout me out. I am Young Ho Lee on Spaces. Yeah, I got you, bro. I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate you for watching. I definitely will, man. Shout out to Jung Ho Lee on the Twitter Spaces. Man, what I will say, though, is Mark Vientos is a guy that I like. I like Mark Vientos. I don't think that what he did last year was a fluke. I think Mark Vientos is a guy that, to me, is a guy that he can hit for power. He can be that 20 home run guy, a guy that can hit for power, a guy that can hit at the clutch. Because that's not a fluke. I don't feel like what he did was a fluke last year. He hit in the postseason. He was hitting in the regular season, and he was hitting clutch. He was being clutch. So to me, I like Mark Vientos a lot. I feel like he's a bat that is very, very impressive. But this season, he hasn't been impressive. And the Mets really got to get Mark Vientos going. And maybe Mark Vientos could be a trade piece for a team that wants him. I don't know. But what I will say is, if you, I don't feel like there's a point to trading for a guy like Suarez from the Diamondbacks for just 1 year. Like, I'm not trading Ronnie Mauricio. I'm not trading Mark Vientos for just 1 year of or a half a year of Suarez. That's not what I'm doing. But I respect your opinion, though. Vientos is so bad, the Mets should trade him. I, I personally feel that there's a lot of talent with the kid. I get it. He's not the best defender in the world, but to me, his upside is the offense, and he can be that guy again that can hit that ball straight away. You saw that in Kansas City. You saw that game in Kansas City where they were down, like, what was it? They were down a lot, and the Mets came back because of Mark Vientos. He got that big hit. And to me, I like Mark Vientos. He wanted to be in that spot. They put him in that spot. And I'm happy he was in that spot, because I think what you saw last year wasn't a fluke. That's what I feel. Let me see here. What's wrong with the baby Mets? They all stink. I don't think that they all stink. I think Ronnie Mauricio has shown flashes of what he can be for this team. Um, yes, there's been some inconsistency with Ronnie, of course. The thing about Ronnie Mauricio is we got to be a little fair to him, because he's missed a year and a half of baseball. A year and a half of baseball, that's not easy. And the fact what he's doing right now, you saw that hit in Kansas City. He got that big double. And I like Ronnie's bat. I personally don't feel that Ronnie sucks. I don't feel like Ronnie is, I feel like he's a guy that the Mets should value. They shouldn't trade him. And he's going to be a big piece for this team in general, for the present and the future. I like Ronnie a lot. That's how I feel. And I will always back Ronnie for whatever, because when I saw Ronnie in the minors, I saw a guy that had so much talent, so much talent. And then I saw him get stronger, and I'm like, whoa, this guy is going to be something. So finally in 2023, he came up and he showed a little bit. He showed a little bit. But then 2024, obviously, he missed the whole year because of the torn ACL, but he came back in 2025, and now he got the call up, and he's been okay. It took him some time to get the plate discipline and all that better, but I like Ronnie. And to me, the baby Mets like Beatty, Vientos, Acuna. Acuna has struggled. Acuna hasn't played much. So to me, guys that are expendable could be Luis Angel Acuna and Brett Beatty. But I'm not trading right now Mark Vientos or Ronnie Mauricio. Let's see here. But what I want to talk about Clay Holmes, guys. How do you guys feel about Clay Holmes right now? Do you trust Clay Holmes? How do you feel about like his innings limit and all that? To me, it's a little concerning that he pitches 5 innings and then he hits a wall. I think that the Mets have guys like Sean Manaea, David Peterson, Senga, Clay Holmes, and Frankie Montas. That's their rotation. But I feel that Clay Holmes, he hits a wall after the 5th inning. So I don't know exactly what the Mets should do with Clay Holmes. It's going to be very interesting what they do, because he's on that innings limit, and I think he said he wants to pitch 160 innings in the season or something like that. And right now he's at 103 innings. I don't know exactly how the Mets are going to get him there. Maybe they call up a guy like Nolan McLean and they put Clay Holmes in the bullpen. I don't know. It's really tough with Clay Holmes, though, because it's concerning. It's concerning because this is a guy that's going to give you 5 innings, just 5 innings, and he's not really going to give you 6 or 7 innings. And that is the concerning part when it comes to Clay Holmes. So I like Clay Holmes, and let me pull up his stats here. Yeah, he's 8-4 with a 3.31 ERA. I like Clay Holmes. Not that I don't. I just feel like he hits a wall after the fifth inning. And it's something that has to be talked about. What's going on, Redman? What's going on? Mets pitching needs to stop walking batters. Yes, yes, yes. I agree with you completely. They really need to stop walking batters. And Clay Holmes has walked a lot of batters, guys. He's walked a lot. And that is another concern with Clay Holmes, his control. Because after the fourth inning or something like that, his control kind of goes away. He throws wild pitches and he doesn't get those strike calls that the umpire could give him. So you got to stop in general. The bullpen, the starting pitching, they have to stop walking guys. And you've seen Brazabon, Clay Holmes, Jose Budo, all these guys, Daniel Nunez, all these guys, Stanek, walking guys, and it has been a concern. If the Mets really want to win, to me, they got to get a guy they got to get a setup man. They got to get a setup man. They got to get someone in the bullpen that's a setup man. But going back to Clay Holmes, I feel that this is a guy that you got to watch. And I think that the Mets are maybe they could pick up a starter. They could pick up a starter. And it's tough to be honest because what's it called? Paul Blackburn, he pitched today a rehab assignment. I don't want to see Paul Blackburn. I don't like Paul Blackburn. I don't think Paul Blackburn is good. I personally don't feel that he's that good, but it kind of is what it is with Paul Blackburn. That's how I feel. DJ LeMahieu with 330 on base percentage. Should the Mets try to sign him for a league minimum? No, I honestly don't feel like the Mets benefit from signing DJ LeMahieu even for a league minimum because they have too many infielders. They already have Ronnie Mauricio, Mark Vientos, Acuna, Beatty, Jeff McNeil. There's a lot of guys. Like they don't need another infielder. And I personally don't feel that they need DJ LeMahieu there. I do not understand what the Mets trade. I do not understand what the do not understand what the Mets trade for pitching or signing a pitcher. They forget how to pitching, but once they leave the Mets, they do good. Oh, okay. I know what you're saying. You're saying that like guys like Seth Lugo, like those guys like Seth Lugo, the Mets had him in the loop in the seesaw battle when it comes to relief pitching in the bullpen. And then he went to the Royals and now he's been pitching better. I think that's what you're saying. But I trust this pitching lab. I think that they have fixed some guys. And yeah, man, I like the Mets pitching lab. We have Winker, Marte, and on the IL, DJ LeMahieu might be a good fit until they come back. You mean for like a DH spot? I don't feel like he was hitting enough with the Yankees, so I don't know if I would take that chance on him. I honestly don't. Now, what is your real option at DH right now? It's like Jared Young, Mark Vientos. I think Mark Vientos is going to be the DH for the Mets. I think that's going to be the DH going forward. But what I will say is that, yeah, DJ LeMahieu, I just don't feel like he hit enough. Like, let's see here. DJ LeMahieu. Let me go to his stats here. He hit 266. 266 his batting average was with 2 home runs, 12 RBI, but his OPS was 674. That shows a lot about a player. And to me, I don't feel like a DJ LeMahieu is the type of player that the Mets want. That's just what I feel like, but I respect what you're saying though. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Clay Holmes, guys, but I want to get into Ronnie Mauricio, guys. What do you guys think about Ronnie Mauricio so far? How do you feel about him? Are you confident in him? Do you feel like he's gonna pick it up? Do you feel like he's gonna be a difference maker? Do you trade Ronnie? How do you feel about Ronnie? I will say, for my standpoint, I do not want the Mets to trade Ronnie Mauricio. I feel like he's going to be a very impactful player for the New York Mets. I think he is going to be a real impactful player. I think he's going to be a really nice player just to watch for many, many years. He has a really strong arm. He has a good bat. The plate discipline has been an issue. I get it. I understand that. He chases pitches. But what I will say is, you've seen as of late him working with Juan Soto, working with the bench coach, working with these guys, and having better plate discipline at bats. That is what I feel about the situation with Ronnie Mauricio. I think that his upside is better than Brett Beatty, better than Acuna. So I don't feel that the Mets should trade him at all. And I think that he's going to be an impactful player. Let's get into your thoughts here, though. The Ronnie Mauricio looks like Ellie De La Cruz. Yeah, he's tall, he's strong, he's pretty fast. Like, he's not the fastest in the world, but he's pretty fast. Ronnie Mauricio is better than Brett Beatty. Yeah, I feel like he is. I think we've seen a lot of Brett Beatty, guys, a lot of Brett Beatty. And I like the at-bats lately from Brett Beatty, but I don't feel that he's going to be better than Ronnie Mauricio. I just don't feel that. Now, Brett Beatty has had pretty better defense. Just in general, he's been playing better defense as of late, which is good. But Ronnie, to me, is a guy that is good on defense. He could be a really good bat. And I don't want to trade Ronnie Mauricio. Ronnie Mauricio, to me, is our third baseman for the New York Mets, and they should not trade him. Your thoughts on Francisco Lindor named the captain on Saturday? Well, what I will say about this is, this was my idea. When I heard about the David Wright ceremony, I thought, listen, why not? David Wright retires and David Wright say on the mic, yo, I want Lindor. I want you to be our captain. That would be beautiful. That is what I want to see in this ceremony. And to me, if David Wright does that, my heart will be whole, because Lindor deserves to be our captain. Lindor is our captain. Even if he doesn't have the C on the jersey, he is our captain. He is our guy. He is our leader. He is our leader. And Lindor, I get it. I get what you're saying. Purist, I completely understand what you're saying. I prefer my captains to be homegrown, but I get that. And to me, I'm happy the fact that Lindor has embraced so much with being a New York Met. You can see it. He loves being a New York Met now. He loves it. The family loves it. He loves the fan base. He loves the front office. He loves Steve Cohen. He loves Alex Cohen. He loves the relationship. So to me, I feel honestly that I'm very, very happy with what Lindor has given us. And last year you saw he was second in the running to win the MVP, second in the running. So I feel that Francisco Lindor should be our captain. And I'm hoping in that ceremony, David Wright says, hey man, I want you to be our captain. I'm here. I'm here to pass the baton. And I would love that, honestly. That would be amazing. Let me know what you guys think. Would you guys love that? Like, wouldn't that be a beautiful moment? To me, that would be a beautiful moment. But at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. I'm very, very looking forward. I'm definitely looking forward to the ceremony, to David Wright. And man, there's a guy so much. David Wright deserves it, man. David Wright deserves it. He deserves his number being retired by the New York Mets. I wish that we won for him in 2015. We didn't, but man, I love David Wright. This is my favorite player of all time. And I'm so happy that he's finally getting his number retired. And I thank Steve Cohen for that, because it's amazing that he's going to be up in the rafters in City Field. That is amazing to me. Let's see here. Redman said, I get so very angry. I want the Mets to leave run. I get so very angry. They Mets to leave runs on base. Carlos Mendoza is too soft, and Carlos Mendoza loves to make excuses for play. For Francisco Lindor is our best player. What I will say is, I know that when you look at when you see them like not hitting with runners in scoring position and making the bullpen the decisions, you blame the manager. I get that. I understand that. But this and their failures is not all on the manager. That's what I want to tell you right now. I don't think that their failures are all on the manager. I feel like Carlos Mendoza is a guy that I trust. He's a guy that I want in that position. He's a guy that, to me, it has passion for this team. He's a guy, to me, that has personality. He's a guy that keeps it a buck. He keeps it honest. And I don't think that he's a soft guy. I think he has shown the Met fans that he wants to fight for this team. He wants the Mets to win. That's what I feel, honestly. But I respect your opinion, though. I completely respect your opinion. But yeah, what I will say is the Mets have to hit with runners in scoring position. They have to fix that issue. And to me, I feel like the hitting coach is the guy that you should be targeting. The hitting coach, because you've seen the approach when it comes to the bases loaded with nobody out. It's like the Mets get nervous. They don't know what the hell to do. They don't first pitch swing. They're not aggressive enough, and it pisses me off. It pisses me off. So the Mets got to get better with runners in scoring position. They have to. They have to. And I'm hoping that they finally do. I'm hoping they do. They really need to get it together. They need to get it together because the Mets, they are a really good team, but they got to drive in the runs, man. They got to drive in the runs. You can't leave so many on base because you're going to lose the game. David Stearns is not the right guy for the job. I personally feel that we haven't seen enough of David Stearns to make that decision. That's how I feel. But I respect your opinion. I know the last trade deadline last year wasn't great, but what I will say is he got us to the NLCS. He's the first guy in a long time to get us to the NLCS. Okay? So I respect David Stearns for that, and I feel like he is an intelligent baseball mind. But what I will say is I will be looking very closely at what he does at the trade deadline, because I feel honestly that the Mets need a big move. They need to make a change in the bullpen. They need a guy that can be the bridge to Edwin Diaz, that you can trust in a big spot. That's what they need. And Reed Garrett, I like Reed Garrett, but he's not that guy. Ryan Stanek, I like Stanek, but he's not that guy. So they got to get it together. They got to get it together. And I want to see David Stearns make a big trade. Now, I don't know exactly what big trade. I personally want the bullpen. I feel like it would be amazing to get a guy like Felix Bautista from the Baltimore Orioles. Chapman is not on the table. You could maybe get a Jake Bird from the Colorado Rockies. There's definitely names out there, but I don't know, man. But you're right, though. They never trade big names. So we'll see. At the end of the day, we'll see. I don't feel that the Mets – I feel that the Mets they're going to make a trade, but I don't know exactly what type of – I don't know if they're going to make that big, big, big trade that we really think. And that is something that has to be said. What's going on, baseball purists here? Your thoughts on the Jeff Passan hot take? He said Juan Soto would hit the most home runs after the All-Star break. What I will say about that is I like Jeff Passan. I like him a lot. I think he's cool. It could be possible. It's not like it couldn't be possible. Like Soto is a home run hitter. Soto's a home run hitter. Pete Alonso's a home run hitter. Lindor's a home run hitter. But I feel if you're saying that he's going to lead the team and in home runs, I don't know that for sure, but it's possible. It's possible. Like Soto can he can hit 40 home runs. He can hit 45. 40, I would say he can hit like 30. I would say to me, I want him to hit like 30, 36 to 40 home runs. That if I would be fine if he hits like 38 home runs. I would be fine with that. But at this moment, we don't know what he's going to get. He has 23 home runs right now. But what I will say is Pete Alonso, to me, I think that's going to be the home run leader. I think Pete Alonso is going to hit I think he's going to hit at least 40 home runs, maybe more. See here. I'm tired of the Mets trash play who cannot play in New York. I feel you. Sanders, what's going on? Sanders Cancel, how you doing? Thank you for coming to the stream. Appreciate you. For center field, I want either Jarren Duran, Cedric Mullins, or O'Neal Cruz. For the bullpen, I want either Duran, Felix Batista, or Aroldis Chapman. For the starter, I want Sandy Alcantara. Now, what I don't want to burst your bubble here. I don't want to burst your bubble at all, but I want to be honest with you. And I want to be honest here. Unfortunately, Jarren Duran is not available. Aroldis Chapman is not available. Cedric Mullins is available as of now. O'Neal Cruz, I don't know if he's available, but it's a possibility. Duran, I don't know if he's available. That's their closer. Then you got Felix Batista. I think that he could be available. But what I will say is I get where you're coming from, Sanders, because I would love to have Aroldis Chapman, but it's not. I don't think they said that he's not available. So we'll see at the end of the day. But for the starter, I want Sandy Alcantara. I thought that was interesting that you said that because I get it. He has struggled, but I think he has a lot of upside still. And he has team control. So I like Sandy Alcantara. I think he's a good pitcher. But maybe you can make a trade for him and put him in the lab and see what's up. I feel like the Mets can definitely help Sandy Alcantara. We need to trade Tyler McGill. He sucks. Yeah, he does suck. I don't like I don't think that Tyler McGill is a good pitcher. I don't think that he's good. I want Luis Robert. Yeah, Luis Robert to me is a guy that is low risk, high reward. I don't know exactly what the White Sox would want for him because he has years. I think he has years of control. Let me see here. Luis Robert, free agent. I think he has a few years of control. So yeah, he has a club options for 2026 and 2027. So honestly, he's not going to be eligible for free agency until after the 2027 season. So I get it. And we're going to look at his stats here. He has a 190 batting average, 9 home runs. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I like Luis Robert, but I don't know if the Mets want to trade. I heard that they're interested in him, but we will see at the end of the day. It's a 190 batting average. That's not very attractive. That is not very attractive. So we got to look at that. We come on. And maybe he's a change of scenery guy. Maybe he's just not feeling confident with the White Sox. He doesn't like being there and he wants to get out of there. So maybe that's the case. You know, who knows? Jeff McNeil, Brett Beatty for Luis Robert. Jeff McNeil is a very versatile player. Brett Beatty has made himself more versatile. Now, Brett Beatty has value. Jeff McNeil has value. I don't know if the White Sox would do that deal. Maybe they would. Maybe they wouldn't. Let me see here. Is there any other guys that you guys would want to talk about with trade candidates? I know that there's been some talk about Jake Bird. It's been talked about multiple trade candidates. Cedric Mullins, I've heard Cedric Mullins' name a lot. I just feel like he has struggled and he hasn't had that good of a season like he had. Yeah, he hasn't, to be honest. I was looking at his stats the other day and he hasn't really been over 260 hitter in years. So that's something that we got to really think about when it comes to Cedric Mullins. He's a rental. What are you willing to give up for Cedric Mullins? Yes, he would give you better defense. He would give you better defense than I don't know about Tyrone Taylor, but he's a good he's an okay bat. I don't know if that would be like a difference maker though. Like, so it's interesting to talk about though. I'd say that. You see here. You see here. My dad wants the Mets to trade or sign Tarek Skubal. Is Tarek Skubal a free agent? There's no way he's a free agent. Tarek Skubal's a free agent. Wait. I got to check this. If Tarek Skubal's a free agent, that would be a very intriguing name. No, Tarek Skubal is not a free agent until after the will become a free agent before. Yeah, he's not gonna be a free agent until the 2020 after the 2027 season. So I don't feel like we're gonna get Scoob. Uh, does anyone in the chat think Stearns will make a trade next week? I mean, honestly, I'm hoping he will. I'm honestly hoping. And I get it that you guys are not confident in him making a trade because he didn't do much last year. But you got to look at the position that the Mets are in right now. They are in a better position that they were last year, definitely. And than last year, man. This year they are in a better position. I feel that the Mets, David Stearns, they have to make they have to make a impactful trade. Now, is it going to be a big time trade? I don't know about a big time trade, but they need to get a relief pitcher. They need to get a bridge to Edwin Diaz. Do we really think the Mets are really going to make a trade for big names, dude? I don't. I get it. I get it. I completely understand where you're coming from. I hate the Braves so much. Well, what I tell you about the Braves is they're not in very good position to make the playoffs. Now, anything can happen with baseball, but if the Braves don't make the playoffs, then that is amazing for us because we don't want the Braves to even come close to the playoffs, right? Right. But we will see at the end of the day what happens with the New York Mets. I feel like honestly, um, I like discussing trade topics. I like discussing about Clay Holmes, about Alvarez, all these guys, because this is something that it's good to just get your opinions on, and how you guys feel about these guys and who would you trade, who wouldn't you trade. That is really nice to talk about. But yeah, man, I agree. Pete Alonso needs to be a Met for life. Last season I wasn't so high on Pete Alonso because he wasn't good with runners in scoring position in the regular season. And he really was, not doing well for this team in the regular season. But yeah, I like him. I feel like Pete Alonso's a guy that you can give 5 year, 6 year, 200 mil deal. But I don't know exactly what David Stearns is willing to give him. I think he's going to play out the market. And I don't think that he's going to go above and beyond for Pete Alonso at first. He's going to look at the value, he's going to look at the market. And the fact that Pete Alonso came back to the Mets was because he wasn't getting a better deal than they could give him. There was talk about the Toronto Blue Jays and all these guys and Tampa Bay, but nothing. Nothing. Pete Alonso didn't get the deal that he wanted. And right now, Pete Alonso's making a lot of money. For first baseman, he's making like a lot of money for first baseman. What do the Mets actually give him? It's going to be interesting because I don't feel that they should give him a 10-year deal, 9-year deal, 8-year deal, 7-year deal. I'm thinking that they give him a 5 to 6 year deal. That's what I would do personally. Now, he's at the age of what? Is he going to be 30 or he's 29 or something like that? But man, I feel honestly that it's yeah, like you got to sign this guy though. You got to sign him. You got to get the deal done. But I don't know exactly what the numbers would be, you know? Randy, who do you not want on your team? Sandy Alcantara. Who do you want on your team? Sandy Alcantara or Seth Lugo or Mitch Keller or Edward Cabrera? If there was any guy that I would want out of those four, I wouldn't want Seth Lugo. I like Seth Lugo. I just don't think that he wants to be back with the Mets. So I'm gonna kind of strike him out. Mitch Keller to me is intriguing. Edward Cabrera is intriguing. But what I will say is it's coming down. It will come down to Mitch Keller or Sandy Alcantara. Now, Sandy Alcantara to me was a guy that was a top of the line starter. To me, he could get back there with the Mets pitching lab. I think that they can fix some things with him. Now, you got Mitch Keller, and I like Mitch Keller, but I would personally go for let me look at the ERA for Mitch Keller. I gotta look at the ERA too. The ERA right now for Mitch Keller is 3.48 with a win loss of 3-10. Oh man, I would say I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Sandy Alcantara. I think Sandy Alcantara is a guy that the Mets can fix. I think he can fix, and I think you wouldn't have to give the world for Sandy Alcantara just because of the way his value has kind of went down. Like he hasn't pitched good. I think that the Mets can take advantage of that value. You know what I mean? What do you guys think about what do you think about the Mets nickname, the Fab Four? The Fabulous Four, whatever, or the Fab Four, whatever. You know, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. But the thing about the Fab Four, they got to hit. They got to hit with runners in scoring position. That is what I want to see from the Fab Four, whatever you want to call them. They need to hit with runners in scoring position. That is what they got to do. So they could be the Fab Four, but they got to, you know what I'm saying, show up. They got to hit with runners in scoring position and hit the ball and at times be clutch when it counts. Get those runs in. That's what I want from the Fab Four. Everybody pitching or play the Mets. They never do good for the Mets, but want them to go to the other team, they do better. Yeah, I get what you mean. Like, I get that, like Seth Lugo and guys, like they don't, I get it. I get that. We're pitching. Yeah, I don't want them to walk the batters. I'm tired of the walking the batters, man. I call the Mets. You think the Mets are done? Is that what you're saying? I don't know. I don't know if you're saying that, but man, we about to what's it called? We got like 6 more minutes or something like that. It's interesting. It's really interesting to see what happens in the trade deadline with the New York Mets, because I don't know exactly what they do, but I do want them to get a relief pitcher. I want them to get definitely a relief, but you got to get a guy that you can trust. And you got to get a guy that you can put in the position to help you in the bullpen and to be the bridge for Edwin Diaz. I feel like that's what they really need. Now, offense, I think that they need a bat. But what I will say is I trust Mark Vientos to be good in the second half and be that impactful maker, that impactful player that he was last year. I do trust him. And I think Ronnie Mauricio is going to be better as well in the second half. He was having better at bats. He was looking better. And man, Ronnie is going to be a special player. And if the Mets ever trade Ronnie Mauricio, I feel like hands down, that's a mistake. Hands down. But man, I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Any last things that you guys want to talk about before we get out of here? We got like probably like 5 more minutes. I wanted to do an hour stream, but yeah. Uh Mets always get trash pitching and play. They don't work out. They release them. Yeah, like Adrian Hauser, like those guys. Yeah, man. To me, I agree with you. I feel like guys like what's it called? Like Adrian Hauser, those guys got DFA'd last year because he sucked. And then to me, I feel like Paul Blackburn is a guy that he had a rehab assignment today and he pitched okay. But to me, I don't feel like Paul Blackburn is going to be an impactful pitcher for this team. I don't even want Paul Blackburn on this team. I don't like Paul Blackburn. I don't think that he's a good pitcher. I think that he's okay, but he's not the guy that's going to take you to the promised land. That's what I feel when it comes to Paul Blackburn. But yeah, he had that good start against the Dodgers. And it's a tough thing. Like anybody who pitches that good against the Dodgers, that's impressive. But you've seen what he's done in the other starts. And I just don't think that he's impressive. I don't think that he is that good of a pitcher. That's what I feel. But at the end of the day, I'm hoping they DFA him. Like if we get another pitcher, DFA him. Because I don't think that we need Paul Blackburn. But man, what I will say is the New York Mets are a good team. They have a good team, guys. They have a good team. And I mean, we'll see what happens. I think Clay Holmes is a guy that's going to be watched a lot. I think you're going to definitely watch Clay Holmes. But guys like Sean Manaea, Kodai Senga, David Peterson, Montas too. I'm hoping that the rotation finally, the rotation that David Stearns finally envisioned he has on the roster right now. And Sean Manaea is going to go in the first game. And yeah, he's going to pitch in the first game against Cincinnati and tomorrow. And I think he's going to give us a good start. I think Sean Manaea, it's going to be beautiful to see Sean Manaea pitch again in Citi Field. He was a big energy guy all of last year. He got the big outs, and he was a big-time starter for the Mets that got the Mets to the playoffs. I like him a lot. Would you trade either McLean, Sprout, or Tong for a big bat or a starter? Now, this is a good question. I like this question. I'm trading Sprout. I'm trading Brandon Sprout for a big bat or a starter. That is what I'm doing. I feel that McLean is better than Sprout. I feel like Jonah Tong is even better than both of them. And I think Jonah Tong is going to be nasty. I think he's going to be an amazing pitcher. And because, man, his move, have you guys seen that curveball? My goodness, man. But what I will say is the pitching, if you get a big bat, if you could get a big bat, and if you could trade Brandon Sproat, I would. But what I would love to trade Brandon Sproat for is not a rental. I don't want to trade for a rental. If I'm trading for a starter, I'm trading for a guy that has controllable control. We have control over him. Team control. That is what I want. I don't want the Mets to trade a Brandon Sproat for a guy that's a rental like Suarez. That's not what I want. But you never know what happens, man. You never know what happens. This, to me, is one of the biggest years in the Mets history when it comes to the trade deadline. What actually are they going to do? I don't know. I don't exactly know. But, man, I want them to make a big move. I really do. And I'm hoping that they can get either a starter or a big bat. But you got to, I'm going to keep saying it. You got to get a relief pitcher. You got to get somebody in the bullpen for Edwin Diaz. Now, that is my final point. I'm going to get into your last comments and then I'm going to get out of here. Uh, did you see how the Mets beat the Brewers pitching phenom, The Miz? We made him cry to his mommy. Yes, I did. It was beautiful to watch. Brandon Nimmo hit a grand slam against them. The Mets were hitting him, and it was really nice to watch because they needed that series win against the Milwaukee Brewers to help their season. And I'm happy they got that win. I'm happy they got that series win. And just in general, yeah, man. But yeah, I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys so much for, coming to the stream, taking some time out of your day to watch me. If you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe. I'll upload more Mets content. I'm definitely streaming a lot more, so look out for that. And you can follow me on Randy Talks Mets on Twitter. You can follow me on Randy Talks Mets on on Instagram as well, and obviously this channel. But thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome, and man, let's go Mets. And let's get this win tomorrow. Let's get this win tomorrow, man.